Welcome to the Egyptian Pharaonic Civilization channel on YouTube. Discover the beauty and splendor of ancient Egyptian civilization in Arabic and English with us on our official channel. Today, we will talk about the story of Cleopatra's life, which is divided into 6 sections. First, Introduction to Your Life, Cleopatra. An introduction to the character of Cleopatra and her importance in ancient history. Second, Family Background, explaining its origins and the Ptolemaic dynasty. The role of her father, Ptolemy II, in ruling Egypt. Third, her childhood and education. A look at her childhood in Alexandria and early education, the influence of ancient Egyptian culture on it. Fourthly, her rise to power, the circumstances that led to her assuming power, the internal and external conflicts you faced. Fifth, her relations with the Romans, the relationship with Julius Caesar and his role in her life, the association with Mark Antony and the impact of this on her policies. Sixthly, wars and conflicts, details of the battles in which Cleopatra participated, the impact of conflicts on Egypt and the Roman Empire. Fourthly, defeat and suicide, the Battle of Actium and its results, the decision to commit suicide and its reasons. Fifth, Cleopatra's influence on history, an analysis. Introduction. Cleopatra, the last pharaoh of Egypt from the Ptolemaic dynasty, is one of the most famous historical figures in the ancient world. Her life was full of excitement and suspense, and she left an unforgettable mark on human history. Born in Alexandria in 69 BC, Cleopatra grew up in circumstances marked by political and cultural conflicts. She assumed power at a young age alongside her brother, Ptolemy III, after the death of her father, Ptolemy II. Cleopatra was famous for her beauty and political acumen, and she quickly emerged as a political and military power in the ancient Middle East. Her life dealt with multiple situations of challenges and victories, and she left her mark in her relationships with Roman leaders and her participation in important military conflicts. Her life story was one of epic conflicts, intimate relationships, and painful disappointments, and it still inspires many works of art and literature today. Family background. Cleopatra grew up in a luxurious and wealthy royal environment in ancient Egypt, where she belonged to the Egyptian Ptolemaic dynasty. She was born in Alexandria in 69 BC, the daughter of King Ptolemy II and Queen Cleopatra V. Her family was very influential in Egypt, where the Ptolemaic dynasty continued to rule for centuries. Cleopatra received a distinguished education in literature, arts, and politics, which contributed to the development of her leadership personality and diverse culture. With the death of her father, Cleopatra assumed power alongside her younger brother, Ptolemy II, which gave her an opportunity to develop her leadership skills and make her contributions to governance and political affairs in Egypt. Her childhood and education. Cleopatra's childhood was characterized by wealth and culture, as she grew up in a royal palace in Alexandria, which was a center of civilization and arts at that time. Cleopatra benefited from a luxurious and varied education, receiving lessons in literature, philosophy, and history from distinguished professors. From a young age, she showed an innate talent for politics and governance, as she participated in government meetings with her brother, Ptolemy III. Thanks to this comprehensive education, Cleopatra was able to acquire knowledge and culture that influenced her decisions and actions later in her political career. Her relations with the Romans. Cleopatra had an exceptional ability to communicate and build international relationships, and her relationships with Roman leaders were an essential part of her political strategy. After the death of her first husband, Ptolemy III, and her rise to power alone, Cleopatra successfully aimed to establish close relations with Roman leaders in an attempt to secure governance and stability for Egypt. Her relationship with Julius Caesar sparked widespread controversy as she aided him in his war against Pompey's Roman army. After Caesar's death, Cleopatra overthrew Mark Antony, another Roman leader, and became his partner and the mother of his children. Although these relations were complex and fraught with political conflicts, they led to achieving Cleopatra's political goals, strengthening her position in the Middle East. Her relations with the Romans. Cleopatra had an exceptional ability to communicate and build international relationships, and her relationships with Roman leaders were an essential part of her political strategy. After the death of her first husband, Ptolemy III, and her rise to power alone, Cleopatra successfully aimed to establish close relations with Roman leaders in an attempt to secure governance and stability for Egypt. Her relationship with Julius Caesar sparked widespread controversy as she aided him in his war against Pompey's Roman army. After Caesar's death, Cleopatra overthrew Mark Antony, another Roman leader, and became his partner and the mother of his children. Although these relations were complex and fraught with political conflicts, they led to achieving Cleopatra's political goals, strengthening her position in the Middle Wars and conflicts. Cleopatra's life was full of conflicts and wars, as she faced many challenges in an attempt to maintain the rule and independence of Egypt. Cleopatra fought several wars against the Roman Empire and other leaders in the Middle East. The Battle of Actium in 31 BC was one of the most prominent confrontations it witnessed, in which the unified Egyptian forces led by them and Mark Antony were defeated by the Roman army led by Octavian. After this defeat, Cleopatra lost Egypt, and it turned into a Roman Empire. These wars and conflicts were one of the most important factors that affected the end of Cleopatra's rule and her final fate. Defeat and suicide. Cleopatra's life ended tragically after her defeat at the Battle of Actium and loss of control of Egypt. She found herself in a desperate situation where she was facing arrest and humiliation by the Romans. Rather than submit to disgrace and surrender to the Romans, Cleopatra chose suicide as the better option. It is said that she used snake venom as a means to end her life on August 22nd, 30 BC. With her death, the reign of the Ptolemaic dynasty in Egypt ended, and Egypt began to fall under full Roman rule. Despite Cleopatra's pain and grief, her ultimate fate formed part of her famous history and greatly influenced the course of events in the ancient world. Cleopatra's influence on history. Cleopatra was not just a historical figure, but she was a person who had a great influence on the course of history. Thanks to her strong leadership and political acumen, she succeeded in maintaining Egypt's long-term independence and expanding its influence in the Middle East. Her intimate relations with Roman leaders such as Julius Caesar and Mark Antony helped strengthen her position and rule. Her cultural contribution was also important, as she sought to promote science, arts, and literature in Egypt, making it a magnet for intellectuals and artists from all over the ancient world. In addition, her death and her famous suicide on the day of Actium was a turning point in history, as it led to the end of the conclusion. Cleopatra left an indelible mark on human history as one of the most prominent female figures in the ancient world. Thanks to her life full of adventures, struggles, and achievements, she has become a symbol of strength, intelligence, and beauty. Her story is a lesson in the challenges an individual may face in their life and how to face them with courage and confidence. Her impact on history and culture remains indelible as her story continues to inspire artists, writers, and thinkers around the world. Despite the tragic end of her life, Cleopatra's legacy lives on and inspires and deserves to be celebrated and studied for generations to come. Benefits. The story of Cleopatra's life is a valuable lesson from which many benefits can be drawn. Her story shows the importance of strong leadership and wise judgment under difficult circumstances. Cleopatra also shows her ability to withstand and confront challenges and conflicts with courage and determination. Through her dedication to defending the interests of Egypt and its people, we see how a strong personality can greatly influence the course of history. Cleopatra's life also shows the importance of culture and education in building character and achieving success. In the end, Cleopatra's life story can inspire us all to pursue our goals with determination and to face difficulties with courage and self-confidence. In the end, join us now and discover the ancient secret of the Egyptian pharaonic civilization. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to receive all new episodes and valuable knowledge. Thank you for listening. Join us on our YouTube channel and follow our exciting journey into the world of Egyptian pharaonic civilization.